What the fuck did I say? And I don't know. What the fuck did I say? And I don't know if y'all motherfucker realized it by now. But you can't vote your way out of this. Alright? There's no voting your way out of this, okay? Cause I'm tired of marching, tired of protesting, tired of talking, tired of doing this shit, and tired of voting. But that's all I got, right? Wrong. Okay? I vote. Why? Because, well, we can't revote? Listen, let me tell you something. The difference here is in the last 60, 70 years, the only change has ever come because of folks starting to revolt. What it is, you push us to a point where we got to do some shit that makes you afraid of us. And that's usually something that ends up in some sort of violence, right? Even if we sitting down at camels and laying down on the ground, they come with the fire hoses and the dogs. So there's the violence, right? But meanwhile, yo, dude, listen, I'm ready. I'll sit on the street. Let's go. Let's sit down. Let's shut some governmental shit down. You know what I mean? Workers all over the world, you know what they do? They just slow the fuck down. People just slow down and stop working. But you know what it is about this little gentle generation? Problem with you motherfuckers. You like your comfort too much. See, you're too close to the system. So you want to protect your peace. Yeah, you're going to protect your peace until you behind bars and there's a noose around your neck and go like, oh shit, how did that happen? You can't boundary yourself out of this. You got to come to the table, baby. We gonna have to do some shit. We gonna have to do some shit. We gonna have to sacrifice. Understand me? Because we got to build a new system. A new system. Do you understand me? Because this switching seats on the motherfucking Titanic with my motherfucking vote, and they keep fucking changing the goddamn maps and stuff. That's why they want you to learn chess. Just play this dumbass game on you. Listen, I gave up on this system a long time ago. No, that kid's got a grandchild, so I'm not participating in a motherfucking charade. We all go, and then we go and just we stand all over ourselves and shit. That's all my peace. But y'all, they literally are building bars around us right now. Okay? They are literally shutting down your freedom. And you just motherfucking comfortable to see. Start putting money away. Okay? It's not fighting. It's loving each other, giving to each other. We're gonna need our own economy. We're gonna need our own shit. Okay? Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it. What the fuck did I say? And I don't know if y'all motherfucker realized it by now.
You have that windows to the black bar. You seen it on the website. The internet that pollinated what was insubordinate. Homes and arms that chant the rant the sun. It's the way to the surf of the world. Colonized and the baptized and the sky. Colony for the good. You know what the orders of the cologne for the despicable, for the despised. Ease the pain, the deceit, the injustice, but not to see us justice. Please, just please, appease it. Just a pencil for the P inside of you, related you lately. Penetrated the bed for the you can find it for the spreading it for the sandwich. With a condiment for the breaker for the covenant for the bride and made it off for the feeling more numb. Now, found the middle of the daylight. Higher than that, the firmament for the statue for the law, the sovereign for the martyr. Way that you can be caped for the rebundant for the redundant for the stuntman. A lifetime for the stagnant movie suit to make it move. Magnet for the magnified itself for the micro. Radiate for the radiate. For the hate to fade away the way you taste. The senses of the smell, the foresight for the giving, the intuition for the tuition for the seams of the fortified for the fortunately for the lead for the movement and turning for the Fort Knox of the hard knockers for the stripping of the poles of the Antarctica for the eight up of the architecture of the archives. It was the cinemax for the iniquities and the singing of the way to the Samson. If you wait for the singing, the hunger for the left side of the brain. Head to giving over to John. the migraine, for the plying, to the metaphor, for the leaves, for the acid, cash, the ash, apple, for the apple pay, for the apple, the jeans, for the firmly, for the char, for the cross, the T, for the source, for the tether, for the creator, for the creature, for the feature, for the featuring of the ring, for the back now noise and the noise of the deck, perverter, for the eyes of the never, the perjurer, for the introverted, for the thoughts of the mind, for the thoughts that you could be dirty, for the buried, the bones of the backyard, for the be the darky, treat, the threat to yourself, for the treat yourself, for the treating with the trademarks of the scar, the tissues for the highlight, for the dimming of your eye, for the shadows of the advocating of infiltrating of the filthy melts of this divine and make the final functioning of it. You can't function anyway for the functuate for this supreme. Per way, you can believe. You say the reversal gonna be up, and you can be the where. To start about the door for the unraveling of the gift tutor, for the shining of the see the quiet transformation, for the helping to be the you can find the confidence in the promising for the tumbling over the standing over the what you have, the seated and the field for the owning of the meal with the serpents over the tumbling of the for yourself, for the dissonant, for the anything, for the entirety sense of the pain, for the lifeline, for the emotion, for the complicated, for the way they exit, for the spoken, with the study of this such a main emotion. Silence my mind, for the something or nothing often. Simplicity over the deep being authentic, over the outside again, influence, into moderation, for the repeating of the patterns and the sending. We're continuously breaking into the change in the matter of the shame. Embrace that with the whispers, for the turning into the outspoken, for the truth of the truth, for the temper, the fear, for the natural, for the creating body, for the remaining of the proceeding to learn, hurting for the little, for the net made of the ruler, for the charm, for the freedom, for the expression over yourself, for the colors of the shadow, for the rainbows of the one day, with the colors of be the storm, for the next of the choice of the freedom, for the vision, for the coming of the truth, for the sacrifice of the truth, for the answering of the cause, the breakdown. Work to break the beat, the final through the pairing of the adored, the all alluring of the reminding of yourself, for the forgetting, for the keeping the attacking over the moment, you can find that, for the down, for the keeping the honoring, with the test of the history, for the spirit, the required to smile. In the silence of the chamber, the chaos that they ignore, the absorb for the pitch face of the port, the force of the absorb for the volcanic eruption, for the eruption, for the creating a new cycle, for the life, for the will, for the fortune, for the down, for the island, for the exploring with the whole new world, for the novel, for the world, for the hotel air, for the characters, for the wishing, for the dimension union, for the heart. You can only be the part of the poetry. But this is another complicated way for the still living, for the stellar, for the answer, for the version of you, for the who turned it, for the weight of the voice, for the theory, the guided life, for the society fabric, for the who chose and quiet, with the safety, or the rhythm, of the comfort, for the knowing that you might have been, for the what have been stood at the edge, but for the myth and for the set of yeses, for the aching of your question. Become the architecture, for the lantern, for the silence between your answers, for the become the blueprint, for the to be the others, and that might hold yourself in the voice. Tremble that you are the building, for the what you think, for the become the theme for the bridge and over the compass, for the whisper. In the dew of the dark, you could handle what's lost. This is you were the writing over the what your light is, for the wandering comes and let it out. Let it come in, for the let it sit beside you, for the stillness and what you have for your enemy, for the echoes, and for your courage, and this to be the faithful, the death of faith. Protect the tatters of the fabric, for the matters of the over the just to be the stitching of the pan point, for this to be the only dream. Or interfere for the force of the compliance, and this to be the company, for the stealing of the money, for the limited knowledge, shooting over the mind. Or funding for the hated over your raising over the taking over the place of the world, for the still to place a lot of them, for the harshness, for the love that died, for the love for the lives and to unify. A bear for the little aurora already, for the walking over the what's quiet enough, for the over enough for this to be the choosing of this is right. Or act like it don't know, for the feeling, for the echo, for the this to be the lottery, the night for the last to hold together, for the phrase esteem. Neither for the men, for the counting of under her, for the things and echoing of the mind, for the life of the jail to stop.
motion picture.
I have that reason to think shatterings over the perfection just fade. He was violently stripped away to happen to. After this chapters you can follow me, but this is not exactly how I wanted to beat the rivers and the harness over the worst and don't release the waste of integrity for the give me the sense of peace of the belief. And one day I shall think clear to the surface of the value of humanity. Defying gravity while creating the beliefs, ground up complete with steam. Stick it to yourself, it is hard to find a particular mind of evil. Even kneel nowadays is legal. Thoughts addictive, predictably unreal. Witness for the sidelines, feel the success. This story is either overtitled for this lack of feel the fetal position for your breathing remain. The remission for the healing and the need for permission over your someone to come from past stealing what to keep them present. Their own church, their own livelihood, claiming for everything. There's a reason, season, this is time for the place for you to save. This is everything they've done, did a precision decision for the direct grade. Which is to find a plan that ain't complete for the unfinished projects. It seems fab and tearing apart, going through the machine. Fluoridated eyes, you find restoration. Evil could stand on one knee, proposing to the death for the keep this world alive. For this, the rather than that acting to, for the manipulation, for the prodding to the torn to tear, divides to disfire. Anchor points, story with the weight that explains the hell, but as long as it did, for this escape myself into reality. This start with the small gaps of the truth. You do kind that you notice until the start for the tripping over the find the distance painting of who came, who was, what was real. The poetic realism, you can concern yourself and feel this sparkling over the heart for no longer torn apart. For this to came together, for this is not. Go so far, blend up windows for this the application to fill out someone else's. This is all though the world would be. The reverend for the palate, for the humming of the afterlight. This is the review of the revere. Sitting that still with the home for very fresh dance and nap. It's a clock to move to still the style. You find it doesn't matter. Really make it switch it off from here. It's going to still earth. Or still the going to. The most are still murky. Declaration of the climax of the story. Happened to be sending along for the rambling over your paragraphs and isn't asked for the permission for stated from the nature's church tradition to earth to earth. Blues, greens, magical worth, and forest, stream, and eternal noise. Something of the mind started breaking. Thoughts marched back and forth, but it wasn't forsaking. Over heavy steps and pressing down into the noise became a drum. Slowly relentlessly over till the mind can start arguing simply you never went none. The outcome is what the income was. Income every time spent. Income. This is not the marvelous surrender. We're gonna take in the eye for the cycle of connection, for the familiar energy, for the familiarity, for the becomes almost identical, for the steering over the to be hopeful of depths of the connection. The many nights spent restless, thinking about how this could be continued, for the holding on to the echo chamber, for the yearning and the mystic of a rib, for the one who build us to completion, for the having discernment, for the stiffing over your counterfeit, for this to make sure desire and desperation don't get confused. The pretty face and the soothing energy is what above the surface, with the peeling in the back, the layers. This is the onion for the leaf, the question. If you're worth it with the work, my time, energy, unconditional love for the people continually over you to do. Usually ask the question against the constant to keep on effing it up. This is love to you for the because it's mine forever for the better. For worse for love, for the running deeper, you can both find the cups to overflow for the kind of love where I pick up the pieces and with you don't find the strength. Love it that's unsustainable, sustainable for the solid foundation, running into me for the bound to leave for the imprint. This is where that one for me, for this is missing the rib, but who would do the same in a world full of familiar spirits and patiently waiting for a change. Yes, rearrange her. This is she. This is the night the music stopped. The champions with the thicker than enough with the final friend should have been. With these would be the silk into the think softness and something made it. I'll be admired by one to something meant to shine, something that holds and do not ask how many threads it takes, how tightly they must be drawn, and how much tension it lives inside the weave. This is only conceived, the only touch of the surface is smooth and bright and beautiful for the deciding. Must be the whole story for so I let them for the because they think strength should feel like this steel, where I miss the thread for the healing the scene. And when anatomy of a test to the healthy relationship with the foundation of mind for the being expected for the entire length of the time together, for this will be contributed to the tribute the true life. This is not when we could dream for the mortify the tears. You knew what I wanted. This is the mathematically deleted with a lie. For this it came, for this the rest of this the wanted to seek if you were mistreat through this remember for the love of the partnership with the sense of this is not a series of trap, the protecting a trap with the protecting of the powers in your choice. This what
urgency strike, without warning in a sudden rush, the fear and the dread, in the moments of the chaos upheave. You must act swiftly yet step. Instincts feed-fed, this world turned upside down, it seems to stand still with the face of danger. You must summon all the will for the heart's pounding and the mind's racing and to seek out ways to cope. Big in the hope, in the darkness of the times we must find the scope of this from. Here was the rush to force, a rush to for those risking the lives to save others, to the bravery we cannot ignore. For the aftermath of disaster, we can't find strength and the unity for the facing of the adversity, for the rising of resilience to the dignity, for the revealing of the might, for the darkness of moments and the shine of bright light. It was gaining wisdom for the learning and a never-ending journey, for the path to wisdom for the never tired. Open up your minds and hearts to set the spirits on fire. With every book you read, and every lesson you heed, this understanding and the growth. Knowledge that exceeds and stumble and fall, but always get back for the learning process. Never give up with the key to unlocking your secrets of the universe and never ending your quest. It only gets better with the age, so let us embrace the joy of learning. For with each new lesson to become more discerning, let us never stop seeking. Knowledge is the guide, for through the learning and growing will always be your body. And down by the banks of sea, for the waters to edge could be, for the some plastic population to plus me. The road please the cameo for the camouflage the camping, for the Campbell's soup, for this the painted by the hoop, for say the owls of the barn, for the hoopers in the find the nose of the monkeys and the apes. For the yes of the summer, the blur for the spins of wisdom, for the pools and worlds, this is like the girls, boys, this is the girl to find oyster for the clam, but never the rarely found a pearl, this somewhere in the house of popular cities, it is sharp and never you really heard and did it. And this is the where the lies feel good, the ink, or was it the ink for the think, this assignment, the truth, but the proof is that it didn't, don't, this reality for the will and won't. Sealed lips and all the crew, and not the final loosening. Definitely not too, for the still is strong. The black and no longer the authority for the deeds of dawn. Wrong, right, whether wars this been fought for the armies in the battle for those who been fight. Some now lay dead, melancholy for the infinite, for the dreading over the red and white order, for the truth of this omitted, for the truth that just become the truth never said, for the somewhere in the tools the buried in some unknown metal piece, the non-descriptive fool, for the unknown piece decided the head, for the article inside. 10 cuddles in the head for the radioactive, for the ones who called the final erase the small square, for the multi-million-dollar masterpiece that draw the critic smile face. Truly, without thinking to wipe it off and erase it, this is quite apparent. The gifts were not to be found in the space for the matter, for the time, but if they be the sparkle, the shining, for the side of the bowl, for the moment, for the describing of the different, for the definite, for the mixture, for the endless. And the amazing and unknown scattered by the ashes in the air, thrown away for the shame, and then for this to never learn, to burn, for the not the shame, for this to getting there, for the stolen it. What you cannot fathom, but along the rivers, the edge, and never to know that beyond the for the time, for the unknown, only heard. Are you happier than not for this address of this bottom, for all the ultimate and for the discernible, for the flavor of the table, for your next dish? This what do I do for this to be the question, for the between the silence and fire, for the weather heart whispered, for the thing no tongue, no green shape. For the shadows lean close, the soul burns brighter, for the body can endure it only. Carry the storms inside of you for the kind that breaks the trees, and this kind that breaks people too for the quietly over the time. Still your eyes of a scar, the scripture for the tear, the song, non-song, the survival for the prophecy for the morning would find you again for the final warrior. You fight the room for the too quiet, for the blood that you shed in your ways, at the savannah, noticing of the heaven, the scene for the heavy fear. Or steps to shake the ground for the more, for the for the broken slow glass cuts, this both rain to read, resurrection for the wound, the weapon, space between the silence and the fire that you were eternal. The days go by, which is to be seen for the not strangers, but you pass the hollow words that don't be seen and reach me anymore. For the I love you when you said you walk away, for the hollow words and I love you. Who this would be the on the whisper for the stone cry, cradle for the stippy between the walls. What was lost to the hush of the roots, the spin slowly get first for the learning and language occur, for the love of the mold of metal, for the ear, for the mirror, the clouds, just forget their names. This it's a glass, this is wilderness and this wild. A wide and shallowing of the shadows, and this is wearing it down the years of the painted tongue, a patient of the water for the curving of the hymns, and into the bones of the earth for this to be the twist of this thoughts, this wandering in the passage of willows of the reading, and was the holding secrets and the murmur for the releasing of the listening to him with the child. which is why leave for the beast that will come, the blue, the black for the bruised, and for the concern for the confused, the wrath. Ultimately tuned in the path for the consumption of feeling the mass, this find the devils of the wind. With a never ending for the falling and the love of the part for the falling apart for the here I am now. And the liners of the digression for the addition, for the unfortunate, for the complexity, for the equal enough, for the connection. You really see me for the uses you don't. And the melatonin dream since fine looking over the promise of the rest. Then peace of the daylight start to seize the week to seek out the midnight release. A point of view for the right person, the right life, the right to find the control for the point of view for this and none of your business. Over the awakening of your place, and you can see the weather, learn to learn for the degrees to what you fuse together for. You could be the tasting of what you find stasis stick. A borderline personality for the disorder for the message, and you can sometimes hard to hate to find the ways I can't explain. Maturing as a love for the mango man, for the stuck in the center, for the person, the mind, for the one telling you the patience of the or the way to hurt. Walk in the mirrors and not on the ground for the footsteps, the echoing of the sound, for the smile of rehearsing with your charm to compose of the life of the world you impose, this scrambling of feelings, the deep and the sensitive inches of whether what you had done wrong for the get payback for the brothers, this feeling of the hurt for the pain is simply with the regret, or feeling empty and after my laughter, sleeping and then find the press against the wall for the barely breathing and I was drowning for the charter to float through this to find a drift. The winterness in the fog, the claws of this skull for the beginning to beg, the flicker over the wedding, your wind goes, this against the glass, this eyes that tell stories. They tell the brown eyes that you'll rather find afford them for this bleeding advice, this find itself healing over the hump, the covered over the brighter red seams. Like cartoons crying for the stay up at the end, for this to be the way the bathe to find a breath of the relying upon the rival for the light, the glass you for the asphalt torch that's toward the sword. A bird with a path and no one can see for the perfect divine. Well, across this to see the fine, flying over the bend and over the set free for the stepping stone for the bend, over the cross the other side for the many times I had over the way. Crying. Or it was the silence and after the storm for the bird, the silence of the still sounds. Or still them they would be down for the spinning with or without them for the deep divine. The spinning without for the words that you could speak. Let it be true for the standing upon the things that you could do for the reason why you those that felt left out for this to be the voice without. Or mystic speaking over the either or the either for the laugh learn. For this is why I already know for the change of time, for the change of tune, for this is like the tomb, the doom, the gloom. Or swap for the light that made a phone. Or what was that about to be for the getting mad for the submitting over your useless unless this woman over the tractor with the big body you figure for the nodding forever for the rebuking the seeing the evil for the lasting days or forever design for the ways for the pay for the eyelids for the way for the eye give and over the teaching of the to my kids and I can find the cyber the salt to find the salt to find the lead the law go for the inbox to ever the expert design assignment for the feeling the physical for the making the simple for the breathing over the heavy forcing the tears down to the cheek. Turn to this, and this will be the surrendering of the general lay back of the sword for the table for the blade up, and the offering for the diplomats of the environment, the metal for the craftsmanship. What you have to bend, the root like the trees, the piece of you for all the first apologize and disturbance for the piece of who you are over here. Do you understand for the dwelling and something that just bothers me into you? Dreams and thought for night for this again, chance to truly see. Heart for the feelings and the very unique and the complex that you can ask me. Choose someone that hurt that you can find an answer for the comfortable resonance for the resonance in the house of this being memories. You post the grace of fleeting years and this the home of the air to like the unused tears to the growing in the mind of the men and the men of the mind with the same girl for the tie for the shoe and never the shoe the tie. The digital fast around my throat for the parameters are shrinking or I can find it constantly. The light learns to bend, the skies turn thin, starlight for me, air feeds, find faintly evergreen for this to be the growing of the tender for the journey in rivers until we're bound to be the final read. Girl in the trapeze, waiting on upon the ladder for the grasping of the breath for this 11 for the serendipity for the rhythm of your luminosity for the stars that shining above the lowest points of the healing over the solving over your scars. For my mind for the reintroduce this wise words that sometimes give it a lesson for the whisper of the song for this time when I find the spiritual praise again. Further compose, whatever the final weather was, a storm for the beckoning for the take the plunge with the half one for this light and all for the garden for the weak person to blame for the make the over the not the dare the mire for the mire. Blame everything with the you encounter. Tell me it isn't for this to be the manners when the behavior for the snake. You bite off more than what you can take for the unraveling of there with the moments when you can find a collision of light. Fresh air for no complaint about the welcome and the good morning with fresh. Down the days and this is found sometimes all the dog for this is bullet upon the door for the will to say for the